Hi everyone, my name is Matt. I'm the youth and family pastor at Cornerstone Church in Marshfield. I'm here today with your Cornerstone Connection, a daily devotional. So glad to have you with us today. As you may or may not know, we are making our way through the New Testament this year at Cornerstone in a Bible reading plan that you can join if you would like to. And maybe you've taken a break from it for a while. Jump back in. We'd love to be reading the Bible with you, discussing it with you on the YouVersion Bible app. And it's a great way to read the Bible in community and to keep Bible reading as part of your daily worship plan of our God. So we are in the letter of 2 Corinthians. It's written by the Apostle Paul. We're almost near the end of that letter. And today we're in the middle of chapter 11. And if you read yesterday's reading or watched yesterday's connection, what you know is Paul is a bit defensive about his role as an apostle. And perhaps he's going on a bit of a rant here about things that he can boast about, and he just kind of gets amped up. You have to read the whole chapter to really let it set in and understand why Paul's all amped up. But as we move in today in the middle of chapter 11, I'm actually going to start off on the second half of verse 21. Paul is going to begin to talk about many of the physical sufferings that he has gone through as a follower of Christ, as an apostle, as one who has gone throughout that day's world and has planted churches so that the Christian faith could spread. And so he's going to talk about these sufferings. But something at the end of this bit of a of a rant is interesting. And it really sat with me as I read it, and I just want to bring our attention to it here today on the Cornerstone Connection. And so let me just start reading in verse 21, second half of it, and I'm just going to read through verse 30. So you can join me there if you like. Here's what Paul writes to the Corinthian church. He says, "But whatever anyone else dares to boast of, I am speaking as a fool. I also dare to boast of that. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they offspring of Abraham? So am I. Are they servants of Christ? I am a better one. I'm talking like a madman, with far greater laborers, far more imprisonments, with countless beatings, and often near death." Verse 24. 5 times I received at the hands of the Jews the 40 lashes less one. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. A night and a day I was adrift at sea. On frequent journeys, in danger from rivers, danger from robbers, danger from my own people, danger from Gentiles, that's non-Christians, dangers in the city, dangers in the wilderness, danger at sea, danger from false brothers, in toil and hardship, through many a sleepless night, in hunger and thirst, often without food, in cold and exposure. Now I want to pause there at the end of verse 27, because I read that list from Paul, and you hear that as I read it. And I don't know about you, but my guess is, as is true for me, that you haven't been through that kind of suffering. And what I want to turn our attention to is the fact that everything Paul listed there were sufferings and trials and troubles that he's gone through externally. Things that had been done to him or that affected his physical life, even almost to the point of death at times. And sometimes it was at the hands of men, of his own people, the Israelites, of people that weren't the Israelites, the Gentiles. Sometimes it was because of rough weather and rough seas that he was going through these things. And so Paul was probably has endured lots of trauma and no doubt tons of stress and pressure. But then what he says in verses 28 through 30 really opens my eyes to something. Here's what he says. "And apart from other things," he says, "there is the daily pressure on me of my anxiety for all the churches. Who is weak, and I am not weak? Who is made to fall, and I am not indignant? If I must boast, I will boast of the things that show my weakness." That last verse is really key as well. That we boast in our weaknesses because that's where Christ comes in. But verse 28, "And apart from other things, there is the daily pressure on me of my anxiety for the churches," all the churches. I kind of wonder if verse 28 was the greatest pressure that the Apostle Paul felt, was the greatest amount of stress that he felt, as opposed to all those sufferings that he endured in verses 21 through 27. And so I ask us today, what's weighing on you the most today? What's causing you the greatest amount of trial, the greatest amount of stress and anxiety, greatest amount of pressure? Oftentimes it's issues of the heart, right? I know it is for me. And so friends, may we, like Paul did time and time again, with those things, whether they're external or internal, whatever is causing pressure and stress, whatever is trying to push us away from Christ, may we bring those things, whether internal or external, may we bring them all to Christ. For he's the one who says, come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. So let's take his invitation and accept it and bring those things to him. Have a great day, friends. We'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.